I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
You're listening to 92.5 The Bear, the Intern show. Every Friday night from 10 to midnight, we have your coverage on sports, movie news, and music news. You can also check us out on YouTube at 92.5 The Bear, KBRE. That's our channel name. Let's get started here with the NHL. We're talking about two teams that are hot and two teams that are not in the National Hockey League. I just wanted to know your opinions and mine and compare them. We'll be doing top 5 lists later on, but I think that we're just going to narrow this down to two teams that are hot and two teams that are not.
Okay. The two teams that are hot, and I hate them both, even though you like them. You like one of them, San Jose Sharks and the Chicago Blackhawks. But the two teams that are not is my team, Florida Panthers. 1-5, last team in the whole league, only 2 points. And they have the worst differential, -14. The other team is probably Columbus, probably. Are they doing pretty good?
Columbus is decent this year. My two hot teams are the same as yours. The San Jose Sharks, my San Jose Sharks, started off the season 6-0. They have a game tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, and it's at home. I actually was going to get tickets to that game, but I decided to get tickets for the Phoenix game in February. Yeah, so those are my two hot teams. The Blackhawks are also off to a good start. They got their first loss last night in overtime against the Minnesota Wild. They're still one of the hottest teams out this year. And my two cold teams this year, the teams that are not hot, is also the Florida Panthers at 1-5. And a surprising team that I thought would be a lot better is actually the Phoenix Coyotes. I think they're 1-5 or maybe 1-4-1. They have one overtime loss and 4 losses and only one win, something like that. And it really surprises me because they have a lot of talent on their team. We'll see. And another team that isn't on my list but is in the honorable mentions is the Colorado Avalanche. They haven't scored a goal in 13 periods. That's like 3 straight games. Maybe more. Maybe 4 games. Yeah,
the Panthers have done that. They scored a goal in all 5. Well, not all 5.
Yeah, but they still have 2 wins, which is surprising. Their goalie's all right. I don't know. The Avalanche are still a decent team, but they're going to have to pick it up. They're really not hot at the moment, but not as far as the season goes. All right, well, I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
You're listening to 92.5 The Bear, the Intern show. I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
You're listening to the Intern show on 92.5 The Bear. We're going to be talking about some basketball now, again. And we're going to be talking about our top 5 teams. It's almost the All-Star break, so it's about halfway through the season. We're going to be talking about who's the best in the NBA so far this year. We're going to start at number 5 and move our way up to the number 1 team. 5 is a bigger number, but a smaller rank. Yeah, Jihad, what's your number 5?
I don't know. I think I'll go to the New York Knicks for my number 5. Even though they kind of suck. They're doing all right. They're not doing that bad. So.
Yeah, the Knicks are not as hot as they used to be.
Yeah.
I have a surprising number 5 team. I'm actually going to pick the Denver Nuggets. Kenneth Faried, the Manimal, he is amazing. They've got Danilo Gallinari, and they also have Ty Lawson. So much talent on that team. I think they're going to make it far this year. Andre Iguodala. Yeah, so my number 5 is the Denver Nuggets. The San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs. And yeah, I like the old. They're like old, but they keep winning. I don't know how they do it.
They're a good team.
They do it.
My number 4 team is actually going to be the Los Angeles Clippers. They could have been higher, but they were on a 3-game losing streak recently. They lost to the Suns, which is kind of embarrassing. So that's why they dropped a bit in my rankings. They're still one of the best teams with the best points differential. They have one of the top offenses and defenses in the league. So I think that makes them good. They also have the best bench in the league. My Golden State Warriors are close, though. Yeah, I would put my Golden State Warriors at number 3 now that they have Andrew Bogut. Well, Andrew Bogut's back, but now Steph Curry's injured, so I'm going to put them at number 6. But if they're both healthy, I'll move them up to number 3 next time.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are number 6. My number 3 team is the Clippers. Yeah, you spoke how they just lost 3 straight, but I still think they're the top 3 teams. It's one of the top 3 teams.
Yeah, they have incredible depth with Jamal Crawford,
and they're gonna get Chauncey Billups back. Gosh.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough.
Any team that faces them in the West in the playoffs is gonna have a really
hard
tough time.
Yep.
The only team that I think that matches up with them, like with their bench, is Miami Heat. Really, if you think about it, the Miami Heat is the only bench that could really try to either stop the Clippers bench too. So they're very competitive.
Well, that would mean the finals.
Yeah, that would
in the West. The Spurs stopped them last year pretty badly.
That was last year.
OKC might be able to beat them. I haven't seen them play. And for me, personally, my number 3 team in the NBA is the San Antonio Spurs. Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, they still got game. They have a really deep bench this year, and with Splitter and a couple others. So I really like that team. And what's your number 2?
My number 2 is my team, Miami Heat. They are 29-13, I believe, right now, but they are still beasts. It doesn't really matter what happens in regular season because they're gonna cruise through the Eastern Conference, through the East.
The East is pretty weak. I think it's gonna be the Bulls and the Heat again in the Eastern Conference. It always is.
Yeah.
This one's hard for me. The number 2 team, the Miami Heat. I really see a good team and a good roster. And recently they've been playing well, but they've also had some times where they looked off. They've lost games that they should have won. Some of the players aren't on the bench, are not performing as highly as I would have liked to see. For example, Rashard Lewis, a couple players that could step up later on. They're getting a lot of minutes, but they're not being very productive. But I'll still the Miami Heat at number 2. It's controversial. I don't know. They move up and down in my mind all the time. But for right now, the Miami Heat are number 2. What's your number 1 team?
Number 1 easily.
OKC.
OKC.
Yep.
They're always gonna finish number 1 in the league. They're gonna probably go to They're probably gonna go to the Western Conference Finals again. They're just that team.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have gotten Kevin Martin and still kept James Harden,
they would be unstoppable.
They would be unstoppable. But yeah, they got rid of James Harden, which is kind of weird. He's doing great for the Rockets.
26 points a game.
Something like that. I think he's second in scoring or third, only below Kevin Durant. That's why Kevin Durant, the OKC team, they have a lot of depth, and they're a surprisingly good team because look at them 5 years ago. They were in Seattle, the Supersonics. They were the worst team in the league.
Yep.
Drafting him out of Texas was the best thing that ever happened to them.
Yep.
I honestly didn't think he would be all that great in NBA, but I was wrong. I thought they had too many high expectations for him. But so OKC's our number 1 team. Me and Jihad agree. So I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
You're listening to The Intern Show on 92.5 The Bear. I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
And it's not baseball season yet, but we're going to be getting into the MLB topic of the week. It's the PED list. A lot of people have been associated with performance-enhancing drugs over the years, and recently more people have been added to this list. I guess some Miami trainer or something like that was found, and he had a list of names of people who had been buying illegal performance-enhancing drugs from him. And on the list was a surprising one, a former Oakland A, Gio Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And he was a great pitcher for the Nationals last year. I'd like to hope that performance-enhancing drugs wasn't the reason, but it kind of gave him an edge, I guess. And
then, he came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, he
came
did.
out of nowhere.
He
so
did.
With these players that I see, like, I'm not saying Jose Bautista is a performance-enhancing drug user, but come on, you gotta look at it. He had 16 home runs in 2009, I believe, or 2010.
Yeah, to jump from 19 to 51 home runs.
51, okay. That doesn't happen overnight. You just don't become a better home run hitter like that. So those are players I really look at. I look at the jump in the stats like crazy, and that's the players that I look at like, hey, you're probably doing performance-enhancing drugs,
Yeah, I mean, unless they're a rookie and they start off good, then that's a little different. But yeah, Nelson Cruz, another one on the list. I was not surprised at all by this.
Nope, not at all.
He got big pretty easily. It was pretty visible. As an A's fan, I watch a lot of Texas Rangers A's games, and I could have told you that one was coming.
Easily.
Another one on the list was Bartolo Colon, Oakland A player, but I mean, whatever. People on the list are some people that people already knew about.
Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod, A-Rod's in a whole bunch of stuff.
He's always in it and
in and out of the steroids.
And I was watching ESPN First Take and how Stephen A. Smith, he's a longtime New York Yankees fan, and he was like getting really pissed off about A-Rod being in the thing, and when this came out, he was like tipped off. He was screaming on the air and everything. He was like, I'm sick and tired of A-Rod being in the news about everything except for his production and his stats and stuff like that. But he's always in the news for like stupid tabloid stuff.
Recently, he has been in the news for that. He hasn't had any production. That's why no one's reported anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. The Yankees are probably going to move him somewhere. We'll see where he goes, or if he even is relevant again. I mean, someone's going to want him, even if he is a cheater.
Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
They need somebody. Gosh.
Yeah, their owner went a little crazy in the offseason getting rid of all their good players. I feel bad for you, and my other friend is also a Miami Marlins fan. Tough times for you guys, but at least you have a World Series in this decade, unlike my A's.
Yep.
We're getting close. Go A's. I'm Evan.
And I'm Jihad.
You're listening to 92.5 The Bear. Have a